If you're still buying and still growing, why not borrow as much as you can for as long as you can, as long as you get to control the terms? If you can get it at 3% fixed for 30, that's great.
You're listening to 5 Hour Real Estate Week, where you'll learn to consistently buy real estate in only 5 hours a week. So if you're ready to invest in real estate, achieve financial freedom, and own the lifestyle you deserve, even with your job, this is the show for you. Now, here's your host, Mike Butler.
Hello there, and welcome to part 3 of our 4-part series on would you borrow $1 million if you could get it at 3% fixed for 30 years? Now, this is part 3, and this has to deal with the varsity investor. What's a varsity investor? Okay. A varsity investor is the investor who is still buying, still growing your real estate business. You're aggressively working your self-directed Roth IRAs and your health savings accounts and your CSAs, the education accounts for your kids and or your grandkids. And that's a varsity investor. So you got a few deals under your belt, and ask yourself this question. Would you borrow $1 million if you could get it at 3% fixed for 30 years? Now, if you've been doing this very long, you'll say, heck yeah, let me do it twice. I'll do 3 times. Let me borrow 10 times that. And the first 2 parts that we went through, I explained you'll get a good feel of the overview of why you should take advantage of that opportunity, especially if you're still growing your business. So here's one situation that popped up when I was working with one of our VIP investors in our inner circle, and he was restructuring debt as a varsity investor. He could stick a fork in me and say, I'm done, but he chose not to. So what he wanted to do was to restructure debt, and he was able to get like 3.25 or 3.5% fixed for 30. And he wanted to restructure debt so that whenever the market does change and things get ugly again, because history does repeat itself, that he would be in a good position. And he was restructuring his debt so that he had 14 houses paid for. Well, that's good. But here's what he said he wanted to do. That way, I can go get home equity line of credits, get a HELOC on each of these 14 rental properties, and I can have HELOCs where I can have cash sitting on the shelf ready to use so I can pounce on a deal when it pops up when this market changes. Okay, well, that's a nice thought, but that's not reality, because if you've been around this for a little while, go back and look and see what happened when we had our last foreclosure tsunami, the financial tsunami that hit America, the 08, 9, 10, 11, whatever. Here's what happened. If you remember, if you had credit cards back then, what happened to credit cards? Boom, everybody got their credit cards cut, turned off, stopped. Anybody had a home equity line of credit, guess what happened to that? They're only renewed for a year at a time. So they got those things canceled. They called the balance due on all of those things. But anybody that had a 30-year, long-term fixed rate financing, or the 5/1 ARMs or what have you, if you had your long-term financing in place, they didn't call those due. So the home equity line of credit, I like your line of thinking, okay? However, when the market does change, they're going to shut all that down. So if you're still buying and still growing, why not borrow as much as you can for as long as you can, as long as you get to control the terms? If you can get it at 3% fixed for 30, that's great. I'm not talking about going out and borrowing money at 12, 15, 18%. No. Okay. But money's cheap right now. Money's very cheap right now. So let's do that. And is the market going to change? I think so. The CDC eviction moratorium's up. The CDC also issued a foreclosure moratorium, and that's the national level. In the individual states, you got to check with yours and see what they've got going on. They might have mandated or extended the foreclosure moratorium, same way with the eviction. Check out your state. I want you to stockpile some resources to cash, and so that you can pounce on some killer deals when this market does change. And never, ever before in the history of real estate, since they've been keeping track of it, have we ever had such few inventory of houses for sale, too many buyers, and the interest rates at the lowest they've ever been in history. Okay. This cannot continue. And our wonderful federal government, I've heard rumors of this, it's already coming about. The feds say they want to raise the prime interest rates. Why? What is their excuse? to be able to raise the prime rate. They're going to blame it on to curb inflation. Doesn't that sound like something a politician might say? So get ready for that. Now's the time to take action. Now's the time to plan so that you can pounce on that and you will be set for life. Okay. So adios. This is a short one. We'll get back to part 4 here in just a little bit. Adios. Have a great day and spread this around. Follow us. Go to MikeButler.com, get some of your free investor training materials. And I want you to share this with all your family members, friends, loved ones, fellow investors, all of that, because I'm in a contest, believe it or not. And if you ain't first, you're last. Adios. Bye-bye.
Glad you joined us for another episode of 5-Hour Real Estate Week. The best thing you can do now is put this information to action. To help you get started, Mike created a free resource for you called How to Buy 50 Houses a Year, Even with Your Job. Download it now by going to MikeButler.com/50 houses. And we'll see you on the next episode.